We have had some beautiful fall days here in Pittsburgh. The warm weather is calling us into the great outdoors.
Oh yeah, and for those of you spending your time outside playing pickleball, you are not alone. It is the fastest growing sport in America, but it is posing some problems. So here to talk to us about this is KDKA lead investigator Andy Sheehan. Always good to have you here.
Yes, thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So this is actually posing some problems because of another sport that is growing again.
Well, tennis, right, is the traditional racquetball sport in the world.
Yeah.
But pickleball is incredibly popular. There are now 36 million pickleball players in the United States.
Wow.
It's more than doubled over the last 3 years. Projections are, if it continues this way, it's going to double again in the next 3 years.
Wow.
And just an incredible number. So the problem is, there's not enough places to play.
Yeah.
You know, and the obvious target for pickleball players are empty tennis courts, or tennis courts where they want to take over. So there's this tension now between tennis players and pickleball players.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with that kind of popularity, you would think that they would all come to the same court, but I can imagine the frustration for tennis players. What do they have to say about it?
Well, you know, I live in Squirrel Hill, and I run up at the Shenley Oval every night, and there are a dozen tennis courts, and there are 4 pickleball courts. Now, the tennis courts are not underused by any stretch of the imagination, but these 4 pickleball courts, there is a crowd of maybe 20, 30 people waiting to play pickleball. Wow. So they are eyeing these tennis courts, and no, tennis is experiencing a bit of a resurgence itself, but not as popular as pickleball. So people are, there's this tension now between, you know, if we're going to take over these courts. Washington's Landing in Pittsburgh had, you know, a dozen tennis courts. Now they're all pickleball courts.
Wow. And
that was after this public process. So there's, you know, there's this simmering tension underneath, and it's finally coming out in the open.
I remember 15 years ago going to visit my in-laws in the Villages, and pickleball was huge then in Florida, and they would have to get there at 6 a.m. because they would also have crowds gathering at some of these courts so that they could all get court time.
Well, one of the things that started with, you know, the retirees playing it because it was easier to play than tennis. But now, if you look, like I was saying, at Shenley or these other places, young people after work
love it.
They love it, and it's almost kind of a singles bar atmosphere over there.
Look at that. Find love there. Now, based on what you've learned, should we expect to see more pickleball courts soon? Or is there a solution in the works on, you know, how to share these courts?
Well, you know, the municipalities, the towns are grappling with this because there is this demand, and there's this public process. Pickleball is not entirely all popular, too, with other residents because of the...
Oh, it's so loud. Yeah, right.
And dozens of these courts, you know, this goes on, and most of these courts are open till like 10 o'clock at night.
Well, one of the solutions that you did an investigation on is what's happening in Cranberry Township, where they're trying to make them private so that at least they're not getting outside people coming into play.
Cranberry Township is the mecca of pickleball. They have these 19 courts. It's a state-of-the-art facility, but you had to be a member of the Cranberry Township Association, and they take members from all over the region. Now it's so popular, those members are playing on these courts, and town residents can't get on them. So there's now that tension.
That's been a big thing. Yeah.
Can't please everyone, Andy. We're trying.
Well, thank you so much, Andy, for joining us today. And you can watch Andy's investigative stories on our website, KDKA.com, and keep it right here on KDKA for the latest news starting at 4 o'clock.